Bitcoin took a massive dump towards the downside, and on today's video, guys, I will be exactly talk about why this is currently happening, and more importantly, I'm going to be also exactly discuss the major next levels of support for Bitcoin and what we could be looking out for, what is going to be happening next year. So yes, we saw the biggest liquidation ever seen in history of Bitcoin. Literally, the amount of money that got wrecked was even more than the pandemic crash back in 2021, or even more than the FTX crash we also had in 2023. So guys, there is a lot to discuss on today's update video. I'm going to be exactly talk about what is currently playing out here. I will talk about all the most important charts and patterns that are telling us something about what is going to be playing out next year. So don't forget to once again watch this video till the end, because this video will be very important to understand for everyone out there. So don't forget to once again slap that like button back above 1,000 likes will be highly appreciated. And let me jump straight away in towards the content. So to start off the video, I'm not directly going in towards the causes of this dump here, but I straight away want to be mentioning we are creating a massive CME gap. And yes, like we also did on last weekend, where we also created a major CME gap, very coincident. It's a very big coincidence that it is happening weekend after weekend. But yes, we are creating another major CME gap, and this time around 102.4k thousand US dollars. So this is very big news here, because 99% of the times these CME gaps, they tend to get filled up only days after creation. So let's see how it's going to be playing out this time around. But before going further in here, you see whenever Bitcoin creates these massive crashes, like you can see back like we also did here back in 2023 of August, we basically saw, of course, Bitcoin create such a major correction, and only moments afterwards we did saw a major rally higher. So this is a very normal thing for Bitcoin to be doing. And honestly, if you're going to be comparing these things here, the FTX or COVID crash, they were way bigger for Bitcoin, and some people are putting this thing maybe a little bit out of perspective. But what I want to be saying here is that if you're looking at the US 500, the stock market, the major reason why the market is crashing, of course, it is not really looking like it's an all too big of a crash here. And of course, probably 99% of you guys already understand the reason why we are currently seeing Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market dumping is due to the fact that Donald Trump is implementing tariffs, and this is said to be impacting 1.3 trillion US dollars worth of trade on the United States of America. And that is, of course, having a huge effect on the stock market. And due to that, Bitcoin is getting wrecked here. And due to that, altcoins are even heavily getting wrecked here. So this is, of course, something very important to understand. And for example, to potentially forecast you how bad this could become is look back at 1930. 1930 is also where the tariffs went all the way back up to 20%, guys. And 1930 was over here where basically the stock market went into a free fall afterwards and dumped from, what is it, like 16, 17, all the way down to 4.5 points here. So yeah, it did got quite bad right there. But yeah, look at this. We are in a major bubble. And I'm not saying that we're going to get so bad, of course, but you have to understand we could be getting bigger corrections, and if that would be happening, it would be quite catastrophic for, of course, the Bitcoin price action. And honestly, what we have seen so far, if you're just going to zoom out as well here, let me get a right chart. If you're zooming out on Bitcoin, you can see basically we have seen nothing yet here. We have seen nothing yet, and we could be potentially dump even further lower. So that is, of course, a possibility to be happening. I mean, on the S&P 500, we have not really seen any dump yet so far here, but you see what tends to be happening on these kinds of moves here, guys, because I really do not think it's going to get so bad here. And since we're right now also quite heavily oversold on the Bitcoin price action, like you can see on the 4-hourly time frame, we're heavily oversold. And the last time this happened, Bitcoin bounced here. And this is usually what happens. I don't say we're going to be bouncing back towards new all-time highs, but I do think we're going to see an average or slightly bounce from off this region likely anytime soon. Maybe back towards 102,000 US dollars, fill up that CME gap, and potentially then create that next move higher or lower. So this is the main reason why we are currently taking the dump here. And it's important to understand that these things happen. And yet right now we are sitting on a very important level of support. And for me, it is going to be very simple on how I am going to be approaching Bitcoin. As long as we're holding this support box, I think Bitcoin is going to be looking quite fine here. But as soon as we're going to be breaking below this exact box right here, sitting around 90 to 91,000 US dollars, guys, I think we could be quite screwed here. And what the targets are then going to be here, I'm going to be straight away discussing it, because there's literally no big support below this level until, of course, the previous high in the market, which is clearly laying around 72 to 70,000 US dollars. There is some level of hope here, which is going to be the low of this range right here. It's going to be 86,000 US dollars. So if we break the red box of support, next is 86,000 US dollars. But if we break below 86,000 US dollars, guys, the next major support is 72,000 US dollars. And do I really think this is going to be happening? No, I don't really believe this is going to be happening next likely. But I do want to be pointing out that these are the big levels of support trading below us, because let's say in case we break below it, you do have to know these levels where Bitcoin is going to be bouncing towards. So I do have some buy orders already filled up on 92,000 US dollars, but the 85 to 86,000 US dollars is going to be then my next order. And of course, if we break below it, Bitcoin is going to be dumping quite heavily, but I do not think it is a likely scenario here. But Trump also stated a while ago that the pain of the tariffs will be worth it. So it looks like that he is really going to be imposing these tariffs on these countries. So yeah, that would be of course quite bad for the economy, and he's doing this to of course stimulate for everything to get made in the United States of America. So let's see how it's going to be playing out here, but so far it has got a quite a bad effect on the market, because basically what this is going to be doing, they are going to be raising costs for a lot of companies that are currently in the United States of America, just like General Motors, which is a US based company, but they have to be paying so much more taxes. And that is, of course, an extremely bad thing for companies that are exporting towards the United States, or that are making their things outside of the United States here. And these tariffs also have strengthened the United States dollar. And that is very interesting to see here, because Bitcoin took a massive dump towards the downside, and the dollar took a massive pump higher. And that is, of course, the effects of all the things that he has basically been doing so far. And yeah, if we're just purely going to be like, take everything outside of it, and if we're then purely going to be looking at the part of where we're currently sitting in the cycle, we should be in like that part where things go crazy in the bull market. At least that's the 4-year cycle. But of course, sometimes things get spiced up here, and that is literally what is happening right now here. There are things happening that are out of our control, but currently still in the bigger perspective, guys, if you're going to be comparing Bitcoin to gold, it is still looking very good here. And honestly, people are panicking like Bitcoin is crashing to zero, but all in all, we're just crashing back towards the low side of the range here. And honestly, the best point of accumulation is always at the lower side of the range and not at the top side of the range, right? So this is actually, once again, a great opportunity of accumulation. And I mean, altcoins completely got wrecked recently. I mean, look at the Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance spiked up even towards 64% here. And honestly, guys, if you want to be trading crypto or anything out there, I mean, the lowest risk trades is definitely going to be Bitcoin. You're going to get the least amount of wrecked, but the biggest opportunities are, of course, especially on those altcoins that are right now on fire still. And if you want to be trading them, guys, there's a massive deposit bonus worth over 100,000 US dollars currently getting around on the Blofin exchange. And if you're allowed to trade there, check it out in the link description of today's video to get that insane deposit bonus. So don't forget to check it out below, guys, to sign up an account and start trading over there here. But basically, Bitcoin, in terms of its cycle, we should be still getting some more positive price action. But of course, we know how it goes in these things here. If the market keeps going down here, altcoins are not going to be moving up here. So the Bitcoin dominance took a big hit. Ethereum also broke below the major falling wedge pattern, which was a great setup in my opinion. But we broke the support on the lower side, invalidated the pattern, and then took a massive dump here towards 2,000 US dollars. So Ethereum really taking a massive hit here. I have bought loads of Ethereum, especially on spot, because I had orders set up on this low right here, sitting around 2,200 US dollars. I think that was a very interesting level, of course, to be looking at. But currently Ethereum, yeah, it is down quite bad here. And honestly, I was hoping for Ethereum to really take that move towards the upside, but this is, of course, a major setback for the entire market here. So Ethereum coming all the way down here of the lows of summer 2024, and even of the lows of 2024 in general. It even had a lower low than entire 2024, which is, of course, very unfortunate to be seeing here. I mean, the Ethereum compared to Bitcoin price is looking like it is, of course, a very great zone of accumulation. But of course, no one is willing to buy it right now here because everyone thinks it's looking shit here. And that is, of course, usually the points where the most amount of gains are realized. Everyone is thinking, okay, no, there's not going to be any altcoin season, but that is usually the points where altcoin season really happens. But I want you to very much importantly understand right now here is that Bitcoin, of course, is taking a big hit right now here. I'm expecting somewhat of a bounce here. I'm not necessarily saying we're going to go back towards new all-time highs, but I do expect a slight little bounce right here from off this point. Then we're going to be evaluating what is going to be happening next year, because yeah, it really depends on how the stock market is going to be reacting today. It depends on how these things are going to be playing out here. But just like I said, if you put everything in perspective, we have not really seen any crash yet so far here, and it could get much, much worse. So this is it for me in today's update video. I truly hope you did enjoy it, learn something from it. I mean, market is down, guys. We're getting wrecked all together here. Billions of dollars are getting wrecked in the cryptocurrency markets right now here. And yeah, I mean, everyone is getting wrecked here. My portfolio is down heavily, especially my altcoins, but it's part of the game here. You win some, you lose some, and yeah. Guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Will be highly appreciated. And yeah, hope to see you guys back tomorrow on another update video. Peace out. Goodbye.